till after that. Okay, next we're going to take up Senate Bill 254. That's sponsored by me. I'm going to just give you a quick, brief overview. We learned as we were dealing with hemp products earlier this session with Senator Kirkpatrick's bill, where we addressed the problem of, in addition to Delta-9, which is the naturally occurring THC in the hemp plant, that there are also Delta-8, Delta-10, and other THC-type compounds that can get you high. And we noticed that we have limited some of the amounts that can be in products, but not the amount of milligrams in a product. So what's really happened is all they're saying is the THC infused into these hemp products has to come from a hemp plant with 0.3% or less of THC. It does not in any way equate to the amount of THC contained in the products. This takes that further by tracking the Department of Agriculture's rules and regulations to codify those on the amounts. They are slightly different because we've got a little bit of a change on those rules and regulations. I think it was back in December, late fall, Department of Agriculture came out with limits as to how much would be in gummies, how much would be in tinctures, how much would be in these liquid THC containing products. And then they had a feedback, and then in January proposed updating those amounts that could be included, and they went up. I have conferred with Catherine Russell and the Ag Commissioner to try to make sure I'm close to something that they can live with. I believe they're okay with this. If they're not, I hope they'll tell us. But to make it just short for you, what we've decided to do is limit to 10 milligrams of total THC per food product, consumable product, which would include like the gummies, or 150 milligrams total per container. So you could have 15 10 milligram gummies. The experts have told us here that 10 milligrams will get you high. So you can get really stoned if you were to eat the whole package by yourself. We also here limit beverages, and I have reduced the THC total there. I've got a can in my office. I'll show off to y'all tomorrow, but this limits these hemp beverages, we're calling them, they're basically THC infused beverages, to no more than 5 milligrams per 12-ounce container, and no more than 12 ounces in a container. There's one producer in Beaufort, Georgia, that makes these hemp-infused THC products that have exactly that amount. So I'm protecting them. There are people from out of state that are putting up to 60 milligrams or 50 milligrams. They're putting 5 milligrams per 1 or 1.5 ounce serving, but then giving you 10 servings in the can. So there are some that are highly intoxicating, but this was a number that the Ag Commissioner's comfortable with. At the highest proposal he had was up to 10 milligrams per 12 fluid ounces. And then finally, we apply to tinctures. Did not change the Ag Department rules and regs. 1,000 milligrams of total THC in a topical solution, and having no more than 1 milligram per milliliter in such of those type containers, up to 60 milliliters of liquid. You will see that we also followed Senator Kirkpatrick's lead, and we can address total THC, not just Delta-9. This would include all forms of THC in the products, which would be Delta-8, Delta-10, or any combination of that, and Delta-9. So that's all this is doing, is taking a step further from the hemp products, how much THC they can have to be a hemp product, into how much in the various products that are sold to the public. I do have a couple of people signed up to speak, and I'm going to try to get this through today. So I will start with Kathy Windholt McDade, Georgians for Responsible Marijuana Policy. I don't know whether you're for or against. You didn't mark, but I'd like to hear from you. Yeah, if you'll hold, I'll take questions first. Senator Ginn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my understanding is sometimes we get sold a pig in a poke. I'm not sure where we're going to barbecue him, but my concern has always been the feds say that marijuana is against the law. I was all for and pushed and did everything I can to help with medical marijuana where a doctor says it's necessary and the things there. I'm a big proponent in that regard. What I'm reading about here, and one of the things that I understand from talking to some of the folks that are out here, is that today you can go to a store where they've distilled the THC. You can buy a product that if you drank it, you would be considered impaired to drive. And there's no roadside test to do for law enforcement to find out whether you're impaired or you had that in your system from 3 weeks ago. Will this stop somebody from being able to buy a product that would impair them and are driving impaired? Is this in such quantities so that they open up cans or whatever, however they're going to consume it, and they unwillingly know that, you know, I can imagine they drink it, just bought it in the store and think it's not going to impair them, but at the same token, the next thing you know is they're getting a DUI.
It would not. It allows them to purchase enough that if they ingest enough quantity, they can impair their ability to drive an automobile. Yeah. And they're playing a loophole from the Federal Farm Act, which allows hemp to be grown and sold in products that has a small amount of THC, but to be extracted or distilled, as you said, and put into other products. So we're trying to at least limit the amount per serving so that if you responsibly ingest this, you would not be impaired. But there is no guard against it other than banning the sales of these products, which I'm told some states are now doing, at least on the beverages. But this bill does not stop the consumption of THC if it's derived from hemp.
If I might follow up.
Sure.
On this, I know if somebody goes in, you know, a serving of alcohol it is based on the alcohol content in the particular stuff, whether it's beer, wine, distilled spirits, whatever. When I look at this, what would it take to have somebody? Is it weight-based for somebody as heavy as me versus somebody that's as light as my seatmate here? She's going to be impaired with a lot less alcohol than I am. But when it looks at what's going on with THC, is that weight-based, or is that, you know, is there any relationship to weight, or is it just how much you've taken in? You know, they got, but I don't know how that works, and if there's somebody that can testify to answer that, or do you know how much of a product they would have to drink or ingest to do it?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this, and I can provide this information. I had a doctor that spoke with me this week who is in the physician's recovery project or practice, where when you have doctors that become addicted or impaired and they try to get them back in online, you know, serving patients. And she says there is a prescription THC drug that has 2.5 milligrams. That is the dosage of prescription that is a safe dose. And she claims that more than 2.5 milligrams will affect you, but agrees for sure 10 will get you high. And that's why in these beverages, I'm limiting it to 5 milligrams per can. So I guess you'd have to drink a can or two before it impaired you, but and I don't know whether people do a full gummy or not, but that's not my expertise. Maybe some of these speakers can help us answer your questions.
Thank you.
Did I have a question from you, Senator Albers, or you just?
You know, I think I'm leaning on the same question as Senator Guinness.
Just let some of these professionals tell us. Senator Summers, do you have a response or a question?
Mr. Chairman, I've worked with the Agriculture Department. I've talked with them many times. There's a hemp producing outfit in my district that produces the gummies and can produce the beverages. And it was the Agriculture Department under Commissioner Tyler. Harper said that they wanted to do 10% in beverages because of the reaction time in regards to drinking. If someone drank a 10% beverage, as they were drinking, they would slowly get their high, their buzz. But if it was reduced down, they would drink 3 or 4, and by the time they got their buzz, it'd be basically, as you say, impaired. but the 10% would give them that buzz without them having to drink others. That's why I think he put 10% into the in his rules and regs to allow that much in 12 ounces. So I'm concerned if we're taking that away, are we going to be making them drink more to get their high, their fill, or whatever? That'd be my concern on the 10% down to 5%. So I just
Okay, it's milligrams, not
Yeah,
percentage.
yeah, milligrams.
Go ahead, you got something to share with us there, Senator Albers?
Yeah, I just did a quick search, and the general consensus seems to be that 2 to 3 milligrams of THC is equivalent to a beer or hard seltzer or a glass of wine. So actually 5 milligrams would probably make you right on the edge of being over the legal limit if you compared it to alcohol.
Okay.
That's one.
All right, sorry for that detour. Kathy, tell us, introduce yourself and your views on the bill.
Could I possibly defer to my co-board member from Georgians for Responsible Marijuana Policy to speak first?
That'd be
I've
fine.
got very short comments to follow up with him. Is that all right?
We're going to move you to the bottom of the line then. All right,
Okay.
Greg Raduca. Ashland Swan will be next to get ready.
Dr. Greg Raduca with Georgians for Responsible Marijuana Policy. Thank you so much for this opportunity to testify. GRMP is a nonprofit, and we are in strong support of this very important bill. So thank you for introducing this bill. I have become aware of some problems that I wasn't aware of before today that I do want to share. And that is, it concerns the number of products that are described in the rules currently of the Department of Agriculture that have weight limits. And those are 4 products, as has been mentioned: tinctures, gummies, topical applications, and beverages. What I've learned, what I had suspected for a time, is that there could be an unlimited number of types of products allowed to be sold in Georgia as long as they can be inhaled, ingested, or absorbed. But that leaves a whole lot of room for different kinds of products. And that leaves room for vapes, for example. So vapes are not prohibited in the rules, not prohibited in the law. And so e-liquids that go into these vapes could be sold legally. So unless we develop there is no exhaustive list. There is no complete list because theoretically it's unlimited as to the number of products as long as they fit those 3 methods of consumption. So this presents a real problem because in your bill and also in the rules, you notice that weight and volume limits are decided by the product itself, and they're unique to the product. Different kinds of products need different kinds of weight and sometimes volume limits if they're a liquid. So unless, like the Georgia Medical Cannabis Commission, the Department of Agriculture or the General Assembly might decide on a finite list of, well, yeah, these 4 products, these 6 products are the ones that may be sold. We're really going into no man's land here with there are no maximum weight or volume limits set for e-liquids, in other words, vape products. And that's really dangerous. None of the tinctures are not supposed to be inhaled. And one could draw a possible conclusion that because tinctures are in the rules that an inhalation is allowed, that perhaps tinctures should be inhaled. I know that was never the Department of Agriculture's intention, never the General Assembly's intention, but somebody, who's not acquainted might inhale a tincture and do damage to themselves.
Let me stop you there for just 1 second.
Yeah.
We set general policy here and sort of minimum standards in code, but we have delegated to the Department of Agriculture this rulemaking authority, and he's on this. I mean, he is very actively investigating, learning, ruling, and regulating, and this does not prohibit that department from adding additional rules and regulations as the product lines evolve, and we anticipate he'll do that. If we'll fund him enough to enforce, then I think he's he is very well educated and prepared to respond to changing times.
That
So
would
I
be,
don't think that this means everything else is legal. We have deferred to him or directed him, delegated to him the rulemaking authority as he feels is best for Georgians. So